position is 11th, Brian Hinton 18th, Derek Warwick 21st, and Rupert Keegan's 22nd. But Tommy Burns failed to qualify. And sadly, this very morning, the sole Ferrari has been withdrawn due to the popular Patrick Torbay having a trapped nerve in his right shoulder. And with only 3 rounds to go, the World Championship situation is as excitingly unpredictable as ever. For theoretically, any one of the top 11 drivers could win. So Dijon is crucial to the championship, and with the 1.5-litre turbo cars and their less powerful 3-litre rivals more closely matched than we've seen for some time, the Swiss Grand Prix is indeed a cliffhanger. And the engine revs will rise shortly. In fact, the race should have gone, and the clutches will be burning, and it's going to be silent for go. With Roberto Guerrero joining from the pit lane 30 seconds after the start of the race because he had an engine problem in practice and it had to be changed. Sure enough, it is Arnoux leading. There in 3rd position is Riccardo Patrese. Prost is in 2nd place. Lauda is in 4th place. Rosberg is in 5th place. And Piquet is in 6th position as they go up to the parabolique, the 2nd gear, 90-mile-an-hour corner. And it should be noted that René Arnoux is believed to have signed for Ferrari, and with him leading, the question is, what, if any, are the team tactics going to be, and will Arnoux give way to Prost?
Well, judging by the atmosphere in the team, I don't think Arnoux will be giving way, but he crashed his race car in practice yesterday, and the team were unable to repair it. He's in the spare car, and he did not go so well in the warm-up. So we don't expect him to go that well, and we do expect Prost to have a go, to go past him. And there goes Prost, sweeping by with a little bit of a slipstream into the lead.
Well, Alain Prost, faster in practice than his teammate René Arnoux, is believed to have a race car which is better set up after yesterday's second practice time session, when the Renaults deliberately opted not to have their times recorded so that they could get their cars set up ideally for the race. And there was no doubt at all about the fact that Prost's car is better set up. You can see the gap now between race leader Prost, 2nd place René Arnoux. Now the two Brabhams are absolutely together, with Patrese in 3rd position, Nelson Piquet in 4th place as the rest of them stream through, the Renaults.
Yes, the Renaults already have a very commanding lead, and Piquet will be a man in a big hurry. He's trying to get past Patrese because he's got a much lighter fuel load than Patrese, so he should be able to do that. If not before, he'll do it on the straight, and because he'll want to get after them, because he's not only got to catch the Renaults, he's got to put daylight between him and them of a considerable quantity to stand any chance in the race. And that looks like Piquet coming up and going inside, but unsuccessfully.
Well, Niki Lauda is well up in the race, but John Watson is currently down in 12th position as we look at the race leader, Alain Prost, on his 3rd lap in this 80-lap race, and wonder already if we're going to see a repetition of the French Grand Prix, second half, as it were, of 1981. The race was held in 2 sections, and Alain Prost won in the end. And he's now got quite a substantial gap. But look at the battle between the two Brabham BMWs. It's still Patrese in 3rd position and Piquet in 4th place. Then Niki Lauda well up in 5th position. Behind Niki Lauda in 5th place, it is Derek Daly, and then Andrea De Cesaris. So there is Arnoux, 2nd.
It seems odd to me that Piquet is having so much difficulty getting past his teammate, because he is, after all, on a lighter fuel load. Now, we'll see if he can do it this time, but Patrese seemed a little bit quicker down the straight. Here comes the two Brabhams. Patrese is making Piquet go the long way round, but he's through this time. He's got a good position for the train, so Piquet moves up to 3rd place and can now set about chasing the Renault. And
Niki Lauda in 5th position, the leading non-turbocharged car in the Marlboro McLaren. with Keke Rosberg right behind him. Now there at the Parabolique, climbing uphill after plunging down, go the Renaults. There are the two Brabhams, and the Brabhams are not definitely pulling away, as you will see in a moment, from the leading non-turbos, because there is the first Brabham, there's the second, Niki Lauda behind, then Keke Rosberg, then De Cesaris, then Daly, and here, meantime, is Prost coming round the 4G, believe it or not, Cours de Pouar in 5th gear at 150 miles an hour, coming into the fairly long straight with Piquet, Patrese, Lauda, Rosberg, then De Angelis, that's Bruno Giacomelli, and then John Watson. And John Watson is now in 13th position. Michele Alboreto is in front of him. Derek Warwick is surprisingly well up in the Tolman in 15th place. I say surprisingly because they had appalling problems in the warm-up half-hour period, but we are now on lap 5 out of 80, and the pattern is very clearly set with the two Renaults in front. Once again, the question will be, will the Renaults last? They have not lasted for race after race this year. Indeed, between them, the two Renault drivers have retired 19 times. There's Piquet in third, pulling away from Patrese in fourth, who's got Rosberg behind him fifth, Lauda sixth, De Cesaris seventh, Daly eighth, Lafitte is ninth, Giacomelli is 10th, and somebody smokes the back of his car, smoking. It's Guerrero's car. Guerrero, who had the engine change after the warm-up this morning, a very unhappy Colombian driver, and it looks as though he's going to be out of the race soon. There is Prost. Now look at the gap between the race leader, Alain Prost, as he comes over the crest from the Parabolique, and Piquet is now right up with René Arnoux. Don't forget that Nelson Piquet in third position, and he's off. Nelson Piquet goes off the circuit. Now, that is the left-hander at the Bretelle, and it's given Patrese a chance to close up on him. They're not running the carbon fibre brakes at the front, they're running the steel ones, but Piquet definitely had a moment there. Well, you can see that Patrese is dropping back, because now Keke Rosberg has moved up a place. We are on lap 7. The prophecy that a turbo, non-turbo car could win this race, which was made to me by Keke Rosberg himself last night, might well be true, because we have the old problem of will the Renaults go the full 80 laps. There's the battle for second. Arnoux round the Cours de Pouar. There's Keke Rosberg hanging on in fourth place. Now we're going to see who is fifth, and it is Niki Lauda, with Patrese sixth and Watson seventh ahead of Daly eighth, and Piquet's going through and taking Arnoux and second place, and this is lap 11.
Good stuff. Piquet made it round the outside. Always a brave manoeuvre. Arnoux was protecting the inside line then, which is normally enough, but Piquet got the line into the corner, and as I said, did him round the outside. So Piquet is pulling no punches.
And there is Niki Lauda in fifth position, the ex-world champion, who had a tyre and wheel stolen from his pit overnight, one of his race sets, and he had to completely set up the car with 3 scrub tyres and a brand new one in the warm-up period, and that was a very disheartening experience for the McLaren team and for the ex-world champion, but he doesn't seem to have let it bother him. There's a big gap now between Lauda in fifth position and Patrese, as into the pit comes Bruno Giacomelli. Now, this could be the first of what we're going to see as many car stops. No, he's having a friendly conversation. Meantime, the new tyres and the Alfa Romeo team run on Michelin tyres, so they definitely had a better tyre for qualifying, but have they got a better one for the race?
That's smoke coming off the wheel there. That's just brakes. That's just a perfectly normal function. The brakes get a little bit hot and smoky, low front brakes. And there he goes, up and away.
Lap 20 then. Prost leads, Piquet second, Arnoux third, Rosberg fourth, Lauda fifth, Watson sixth, Patrese seventh, Daly in 8th position, De Cesaris is 9th, Lafitte 10th, Alboreto 11th, and Warwick is in 12th position. And these are the tail enders now being closed up on by race leader Alain Prost, which could certainly give Nelson Piquet the opportunity to close the gap, which is 7.2 seconds, because if any of these tail enders get in the way of and slow up Alain Prost, Piquet can gain.
and that is Watson in the pits. What a shame. Watson going very well. Looks as if he's in for tyres. So it does look as if we're in for both tyres and tiredness as major features of this race.
Well, the significant thing is that both the tyre changes we have seen have been for Michelin users, because Bruno Giacomelli, who came in, is on Michelin, as is John Watson, and the Goodyear people were alleged to have an extremely good race tyre. Well, the leader, and we're looking at him now, Alain Prost, is on Michelin tyres, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he has any problems. Meantime, he is up with one of the ATS cars. It looks like Manfred Winkelhock, who, that's the German driver, and Winkelhock is in 21st position. On lap 24, it looks to me as though Nelson Piquet, the world champion in the turbocharged Brabham BMW, is dealing better with the traffic, or having more luck as John Watson leaves the pits after a very, very long stop, than race leader Alain Prost, because now the gap is down to 4.7 seconds. John Watson's down to 24th position now, incidentally, which is the last runner but one. So all his hard work was to no avail, or very little avail. There goes the Brabham. Here is Nelson Piquet. Now, he must be trying as hard as he possibly can, because it's not, as I have said before, just a question of catching the yellow and white Renault of Alain Prost. It is a question of getting past it and getting ahead. Now, there is Prost going down to out of the Sablière bend. And Piquet clips the curve there. He's really trying, Nelson Piquet.
And they've just shown Piquet the inboard. The Brabham team had it ready but didn't hold out the previous lap. So they're going to come in, obviously, exactly on lap 40 if Piquet chooses to take heed of it now. Of course, the driver has an option. If he's terribly busy doing something else, he can always come in a lap late or something like that. But I dare say he'll come straight in.
Well, all eyes now on Nelson Piquet, because soon René Arnoux, who is close, there he goes into the pit. He's slowed down. Now you're going to see the Brabham BMW's second pit stop. The first one was in Austria when Piquet came in. The second race this is. Then Patrese stops. Now, how long is it going to take Nelson Piquet to take on 25 gallons of fuel from the pressurized containers and 4 new tyres and wheels? The tyres have been preheated in a special oven to race temperature. You can see the turbo flashing there, the flames coming out of it. On the left is the man with the hose. And the tyres on the left are ready, and out goes Nelson Piquet, 14.4 seconds from stop to start. And as he goes through, he rejoins the race in front of John Watson, who will pass him on the outside because Piquet is still gathering speed. So a 15 second, just under, pit stop for Nelson Piquet, who rejoins the race now on fresh, new rubber, and with his tank half full of petrol. The difference between himself and Alain Prost is that whilst the Frenchman also has half a tank of petrol, having used half a tank, Piquet should be in a better tyre position. Now, there is Prost, the race leader. That in the pits is definitely Eddie Cheever, number 25, the American. And on lap 41, Alain Prost leads. Arnoux second, 5 seconds behind him. Up to third has gone Keke Rosberg, 11 seconds behind the leader. 1 second ahead of fourth place man Niki Lauda. And in fifth position is Nelson Piquet, who is 36 seconds behind the race leader and 24 seconds behind fifth place man Niki Lauda.
Yes, I was just watching Piquet's progress, and the strange thing is that now as he's settled down, he's actually losing time to the leader Alain Prost. He's lost over a second since he's settled down, and that isn't what you'd expect. You would expect him on fresh tyres to go substantially quicker. Now, I don't know whether he's got a problem or they changed compounds and got it wrong, or whether Piquet is far enough back that the fight's gone out of it.
The positions on lap 49 now are still Prost leading, Arnoux second, Rosberg third, Lauda fourth, Piquet fifth, Patrese sixth, and he has been lapped. round the Villeroy bends where they drop away into the right and left of the Sablière. This is 150 miles an hour down into third gear as they come to the Bretelle bend. That's Riccardo Patrese, who is in sixth position. Is he going to be lapped by third place man Rosberg?
Yes, it's really a shame that Patrese is holding them up like this. And I think he's let Rosberg through. Now, will he let Niki Lauda through? He obviously doesn't want to let the Alfa through, because that's part of the battle. But that hold-up for Rosberg and Lauda looks a little bit terminal as far as catching the Renaults is concerned, and which is really a shame. But it couldn't be helped. It's one of those things, and it just demonstrates the problem of getting past one of these powerful turbos if you haven't got the same kit. Right, now Niki will have a dive up the inside this time. Can he do it? Yes, he does.
And it was at the parabolique that Patrese let Rosberg by. Now you will see Niki Lauda pull away in the same way that Keke Rosberg did. Prost leading, Arnoux, and there he is in second place, and definitely René Arnoux, the man who won the French Grand Prix, is catching his teammate Alain Prost, and Keke Rosberg is crowding both of them. We are on lap 69, 80-lap race. There is the leader. We've had a pretty static patch in the middle, but it's all coming alive now as Alain Prost goes through to complete a lap. I listen to the engine, and it sounds to me as though possibly Prost has lost a gear. It's 4.4 seconds, the gap. And there is Piquet, followed by Henton, followed by Rosberg, who is in third position. Fourth is Niki Lauda, and Piquet, who is fifth, has been lapped.
Traffic is proving to be a real feature of this race, because whilst you were saying that Prost was going to be caught by Arnoux, I think it'll be traffic that does it, because in fact, once they get clear runs on their own, Prost appears to be able to hold him at the moment. He kept the gap. In fact, he slightly increased it the last time they had a clear run. But of course, every time they get on the traffic, now, can Arnoux, oh dear, Arnoux would have liked to have gone straight past the Alfa then, and that would have really helped him. And in fact, the Alfa's holding him up quite badly, so the status quo will probably be restored. They'll finish up very much as they were before. It's going to not being very helpful for a good race. If he had any sense and he thought about it, he'd let him by, and then we could all watch the finish, and then he's in the best seat of them all to watch the finish, as long as he can keep up. He can have great fun if he just let him through and make the good finish.
Well, Arnoux is through. The gap is 2.8 seconds between Prost and Arnoux, but much more interestingly, the gap between Keke Rosberg and Arnoux is 3.2 seconds. So less than 6 seconds separate the man you're looking at in third position, Keke Rosberg, who surely is one of the gutsiest drivers in Grand Prix racing today, and for a long, long time, and he's closing fast on the two Renaults.
I don't know whether you noticed a couple of corners back, Rosberg is really having a go. He went well wide at the corner at the end of the straight, but he kept it all together, and he's going very deep into the corners now. It's another fine exhibition of a late charge by Rosberg. He's far and away the fastest man on the circuit at the moment. If he can just get past the Alfa all right.
That's Renault slowing. That's Arnoux surely slowing. Yes, Rosberg's right with him. And Rosberg is past Arnoux. Keke Rosberg is in second place on lap 73 in this 80-lap race. Arnoux, and I always say this, yet again it would seem that a Renault is in trouble, and now Alain Prost has completed a lap. The Renault flags are flying. Keke Rosberg is in second place. He puts his hand out of the cockpit and he gives a thumbs up to his team as he goes past. And once Keke Rosberg, who seems to me to be on the right tyres, and they have got the car set up so that it will go faster in the second half of the race than the first. They've got some magic tweak, the Williams team, that they won't tell anybody about, and there into the pits goes René Arnoux. Yet another race looks as though it's probably run for the Frenchman, which will sour him even more, and he thumbs back at the engine to say, yet again, something's gone wrong with my turbo engine, and that will sour him even more, I suspect, against his team. And if he hasn't already signed for Ferrari, then I would expect him to. Now, there is Rosberg. You saw the leader, Alain Prost. It's lap 75 and blasting out of the pits with a very quick stop. I can't imagine what the problem was that has been put right. Goes René Arnoux. It was tyres. He's had a very, very quick tyre change. There's Prost. There is Rosberg. You are now watching the battle, and a really dramatic battle, as Prost passes Arnoux, who is stopping now. Is he going to get in the way of Keke Rosberg? No. Good. Right. Rosberg on his way. Lap 76. Alain Prost leads. Rosberg second. Lauda third. Arnoux fourth. Piquet fifth. Patrese sixth. Now, there is Rosberg. He's charging. He's really charging. 33-year-old Keke Rosberg, who lives in Monaco. His 50th Grand Prix. Second in the World Championship. He could take the lead if he wins, and my goodness, he could do it. He's still got 3 laps to catch and pass Alain Prost, and it would be a bitter pill for the Frenchman, the French crowd, and the French Renault concern. And the Williams Union Jack would really be flying with the Saudi flag. And now you see Keke Rosberg with Alain Prost literally in his sights on lap 77 out of 80. The French crowd is chanting all round me. Go, 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 Alain, they're shouting. And the Finns are shouting back at them. There's a big Finnish contingent, and you can imagine what they're shouting for Keke Rosberg. This is where the Villeneuve-Arnoux battle took place, and Keke Rosberg is right with the leader.
And this is a really wonderful recovery by Rosberg, because if you remember, it was only about 15 laps ago that he was pushed right back by the back markers, and he's caught up a huge amount. When he emerged from that gaggle and got past Patrese, he was something like 18 or 19 seconds behind Alain Prost, and now he's right on top of him. He's almost caught him, and he's got a couple of laps to do it in.
Keke Rosberg was bitterly disappointed when he didn't win the British Grand Prix after having taken pole position. Let us watch him on lap 78 now as they complete the 77th lap and go into the last 3 laps of the Swiss Grand Prix, a race which is more than upholding the promise of the World Championship Series this year. There's Arnoux's car parked, stationary in the background. It's out of the race. There is only 1 Renault left, and the order is Prost leading, Rosberg second. You look at them. Then Niki Lauda is 50 seconds behind these two, and still Rosberg is gaining. Piquet is fourth. Arnoux out of the race, and we're going to see a change for the leadership. Into the Britell bed. This is lap 78. 140 miles an hour at this point. Up into 4th gear. Up into 5th gear. 150 and faster. 4G. And Rosberg challenges.
Yes, but it's hopeless for him to pass there because he's got the whole of the straight, of course. For the power of the turbo Renault to get away from him. He's going to have to do it round the back, and it is going to have to be a close your eyes, hit and hope thing. And it remains to be seen how carefully Prost will block him. But I think, really, into the parabolique, he's very quick round the left-hander before it. He catches right up. He's even trying to get alongside him round the outside there. Rosberg is really driving magnificently. He's going to... This is where he has to go quickly down this downhill left-hander. And he's through. He's done it. Rosberg into the lead. And he's going to have enough daylight, too, at the end. When they get onto the straight, if he's quick round here, and he's got a couple of corners to put the air between him and Alain Prost, and that looks like it for Keke Rosberg. What a wonderful drive.
Yes, but is Alain Prost going to let him get away with it? It's a Frenchman in a French car in front of a French crowd in the Swiss Grand Prix, and Keke Rosberg is leading. Is this going to be his first ever Grand Prix win? If it is, and he is more than clearing daylight, if he can get out of this 150 mile an hour bend well clear of Prost, and it's a fantastic drive, and it looks to me as though Keke Rosberg is going to do it. He's coming up to his teammate Derek Daly, who would obviously let him through on the last lap, and if he can get into this right-hander before Alain Prost does, and this is the last lap, This is lap 80, and the Williams team mechanics are lining the Armco outside their pits. They have the Union Jack flag ready, they have the Saudi flag ready, and Keke Rosberg is on his way after a magnificent fighting 80-lap drive in a perfectly set up Williams. And look at the gap now between him and Alain Prost, who is nowhere to be seen, as Rosberg, who said to me before this race began, this race could be won by a non-turbo, and it's a turbo circuit, as was Austria, and this will be the 151st Grand Prix win of the incredible Ford Cosworth engine. And there is Arnoux walking in.
Well, just a wonderful effort by Rosberg. He's such a charger when it matters. Prost, I think, must be in tire trouble. He's obviously, his car is obviously not gripping properly, or got something seriously wrong with it, and it isn't in the engine department. I think he's probably worn his tires right down to the canvas. But Rosberg sails on with 1 lap to go, and now plenty of daylight between him and Prost, and he can just cruise it round. So Keke Rosberg will take the lead of the World Championship if he keeps it all together, and his first Grand Prix win, and what a wonderful day for him and a great entertainment for us.
Well, now the Finn is on his last lap. My sincere apologies. We have a problem, and the checkered flag is certainly being readied now. Keke Rosberg on his 80th and last lap in this very memorable Swiss Grand Prix, and Alain Prost is nowhere to be seen. And it looks as though it is going to be Ford Cosworth-powered Williams car of Keke Rosberg winning the Swiss Grand Prix ahead of the Renault of Alain Prost, who will have lost his chance of a 6th Grand Prix win. Now, certainly, into the Courbe de Pour for the last time. I can see the man with the checkered flag. It is ready. And across the line, Keke Rosberg has won for Williams. The flags are flying. The mechanics are cheering. The finish section in the crowd goes mad. And there in the background comes the Renault going very, very slowly indeed in comparison with the way it's gone before of Alain Prost. And there is Keke Rosberg, so, as ever, subject to official confirmation, a magnificent first-time win for that man. Now, for some peculiar reason, the Swiss Grand Prix has been run for 81 laps. Not our error. We felt we had made a mistake. The Swiss Grand Prix ran to 81 laps instead of 80, but Rosberg the winner, Prost second, Lauda third, Piquet fourth, Patrese fifth, and De Angelis sixth for sure. And the World Championship table now means Keke Rosberg leads by 3 points from the hospitalized Didier Pironi. In third position, Alain Prost. Fourth equal, Watson and Lauda, the 2 McLaren drivers, on 30 points. And in sixth position, De Angelis. Well, a magnificent and very well-deserved win for the fighting Keke Rosberg in his Williams. And that means to say that everything is still building now for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza in 2 weeks' time, and Grand Prix will be there.